All right, Moses joined me at the desk, and before we get into sports, he talks about are 3D printers, so I know that story really spoke a lot to him. He said he's down for it.
A few $100, and it's a Saskatchewan boy. See, you gotta love it. Very smart man.
All right, so turning our attention to sports now. A drug scandal definitely sending shockwaves throughout the ACAC.
Once news hit, it made you scratch your head. You're like, okay, what's going on? Well, things did look promising for the Lethbridge College Kodiacs men's volleyball team this season. Started 3-1. They were nationally ranked in the country, and then the bombshell.
Things were looking promising for the Lethbridge College men's volleyball team this year. They started with a 3-1 record and had just been ranked 11th in the country. And then the bombshell.
I guess my first reaction was just complete shock and disbelief.
A situation the college won't go into, except to say,
we hold our student athletes to high standards, and a number of players broke the code of conduct, and as a result, we no longer had enough players to field a team for men's volleyball.
Reports circulating on social media and on campus say some of the players used the popular party drug MDMA, a form of ecstasy.
I've heard all the Twitter stories, and the social media is what it is. But from our perspective, our view is they've broken our code of conduct, and there are consequences to that.
The season is over. The players' scholarships are gone, perhaps even for those who didn't do anything wrong. And across campus, students are weighing in.
Some people say we shouldn't be as hard on them. They made a mistake, they messed up, and they realize that. But other people are being really harsh on them and really have a bad view on the volleyball team.
The college's athletic director says they do plan to bring the men's volleyball team back again next year, and he's hoping the players will learn from this. He says players shouldn't be judged by how many times they get knocked down, but by how they get back up again.
So what does that mean for Lakeland College? Well, since Lethbridge College forfeits the rest of the season, the Rustlers are one of 3 teams that don't play the Kodiacs this year, while 2 others already face them. So as it stands, a handful of teams will play 20 matches while the rest play 18, creating an unbalanced schedule. Rustlers men's coach, Taylor Dyer, is a part of an emergency meeting who was called earlier this week to look at several scenarios for the rest of the season.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what the executive decides is going to happen for real, and then we'll take it from there. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it now. Just make sure we take care of business each weekend and make our winning percentage the best that can be.
As for Lakeland College's code of conduct, Dyer says the Rustlers volleyball program does not tolerate such behavior involving drugs or alcohol, and that message is reinforced to the athletes.
The public eye, and anything they do can be negatively affecting our program, our college. So they take that pretty serious.
We're moving on to hockey. It's a familiar storyline for the Lloydminster Bandits all season long. Another game, another win. They were in Vermilion last night taking on the Tigers, hoping to improve to 10-0. Now opening frame, Tigers will strike first. Edward Harzma streaking to the net. Poke check is there. Kyler Anderson corralling the loose puck and feeding Brandon Bardell. Yawning cage. It's now 1-0. Minutes later, Sean Utley's shot is stopped. Then has a short conversation with Corson Bram, invites him to go to a dance, and then they drop the mitts. Bram with a few rights. Utley gets back up and lands a few of his own. Bram would get the takedown and eventually would get the decision in this one. Now we're going to move on to the second period. 4.5 minutes in. Bandits will tie it up. Anthony Renier cuts into the slot, slides the puck over to Chris Romanchuk with the sweet hands. 1-1. Bandits netminder Scott Yanoda would shut the door the rest of the game. The Bandits would go on to win this one by a score of 2-1. It was a huge burden off their shoulders, coaches and players alike. The Lloydminster Bantam Mustangs finally punched their ticket to the Provincials semifinals after winning the Wheatland Bantam Football League Championship. Now celebrations have been put aside for the time being, with a berth to the provincial final on the line.
That game Friday was the one. That was the one we wanted for the last 3 years. And we didn't quite get there the last 2 years, but this year we finally did.
Like the old saying goes, third time's the charm. That's certainly the case for the Lloydminster Musgrave Agency Mustangs, finally capturing the Wheatland Bantam title. but there's still some unfinished business with the provincial semis in Edmonton.
We've tried to obviously change the focus from our championship game on Friday night to the game at hand on Saturday, and I think that the boys have done fairly well at that.
We've already showed that we are a great team and we can get stuff done.
The Mustangs face the Millwoods Grizzlies, a mirror image of themselves.
They have a big run game, like to run it you up the middle. Not a whole lot of stuff outside, but when they do go outside, they kind of let you know that they're going to go outside. So nothing sneaky, no trick plays, it's just straight at you. So I can see it being a good old-fashioned game of smash-mouth football.
Which means no juggling necessary, fitting into the Mustangs' game plan.
Just gonna do our normal stuff. We're gonna play our hearts out and focusing on wrapping up and tackling low.
To just stop them from running through the middle, stop their outsides, and our corners and halves are going to stay on their wideouts.
They'll be playing at Clark Stadium, a facility with artificial turf, and the Mustangs see that as a benefit.
That suits more of a run game. The footing will be good. It won't be slippery. It won't be frozen. They basically just sweep the snow off if they need to. It's the sport grass with the rubber pellets in it, so it's actually not bad to play on in cold weather. We've played on it a lot with the Red Dogs in the spring, so you know, us coaches know how to handle it.
Kickoff for the Mustangs and Grizzlies is this Saturday at 11:30.
The Lakeland Rustlers men's basketball team are off to a 2-2 start to the season. Leading the way is guard Travis Blacker. Matt Schumont has more on the captain in this week's Superstar Next Door.
Growing up in a family full of basketball players, Travis Blacker went a different route and played soccer. Getting tired of it, his mom got him into the sport of basketball, and he never looked back.
My mom just said, "Do you want to actually play on the school team?" Because she was coaching it, and I said, "Yeah, sure." And as soon as I got an organized team and started playing, I fell in love with it.
Starting to play in his hometown of Edson, Alberta, Travis has done some traveling to further his basketball career, including playing a year in Michigan.
I was recruited by a coach that I tried out for. It's called Canada Basketball Center for Performance, and it's the national team programs from each province. And I tried out. Just got suggested by a coach just from one of the urban areas, and I went out and I made the team, and got some attention from coaches there. Ended up going to the city and playing for Paul Kane. Won a provincial championship in 2008 for 4A.
In his second year with the team, Travis was selected as captain for this year's Rustler squad.
Guy is he's built low to the ground, but I'll tell you, there's not an ounce of fat on him. He's a very dedicated athlete. He's in the weight room 3-4 times a week. He's in doing extra shooting. We have a shoot every morning and a practice every night, and he always seems to manage to find a few extra minutes to come in and do some additional shooting.
Now, of course, one of the goals for Travis is to make the postseason, but there are other accomplishments the point guard will be striving for.
Just me personally is play a couple of years here, and it's the second year in the ACAC, and if I can, once I finish my schooling here, I'm going to go play, hopefully go play some CIS, and then after that, if any overseas pro comes up, then play basketball for as long as I can, right?
Matt Schumont, Newcap Sports.
Definitely a talented kid. One last thing to mention, Holy Rosary Raiders football coach Vince Orieux is one of 10 finalists have been named to the 2013 NFL Youth Coach of the Year Award. Now, the award recognizes community or high school level coaches across the country that dedicate themselves to the development of young players both on and off the field. The award winner will be announced a week from today. Now, that's all the time we have in sports. We'll have more Newcap news and weather after the break.